Stick to the plan, anticipate, don't improvise, and waste away on Netflix. It's extremely hard to quantify and articulate this sense of cheapness I always associate with the movies when I hear they're going directly to streaming. I mean, it's certainly not due to the amount spent on these movies. I mean, look at how much Netflix spent on The Irishman. I suppose it's the constant letdown and albeit subjective, but poor quality these direct-to-streamers consistently have. It has conditioned me to expect mediocrity, and thus the prestige of a new major release is dampened in a depressing manner for me when I hear it skipping a theatrical run. Take Pixar, for example. Never in my life have I not watched a new Pixar release. I mean, they're responsible for some of my favorite films of all time. The storytelling geniuses that incorporate adult themes into a family-friendly and revolutionary animation style cannot be understated. However, I still haven't even seen Turning Red, despite the great reviews. As soon as I heard it was going to be released directly to streaming, my interest completely dwindled, and now the buzz is kinda gone. Take the first Knives Out, a film I absolutely adored seeing in the cinema. A fun, whimsical murder mystery with a fantastic original script that I love. Fast forward to today, and I almost let Glass Onion slip right under my radar. The list just goes on and on for films that just feel meh. Perhaps it's from the overabundance of mediocrity with direct-to-streamers like Extraction, The Gray Man, or Red Notice. Or maybe it's from the years and years of straight-to-video-on-demand titles being so cheap and lackluster that it's conditioned me as a viewer to not be enticed by this medium of distribution. Yes, the tie-in to The Killer is coming. Perhaps I'm all alone here, and nobody else feels this sense of prestige being drained away from so many of these movies.
It's gone.
I don't know how many times I find myself curled up on the couch, watching hockey, eating my bacon, with a nice cold cup of maple syrup, because that's what we do here in Canada, and an advertisement will start playing.
Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
No, not that one. An ad like this.
Leaving only.
And I'm digging it. And I'm thinking, wow, this looks really interesting. I love Christian Bale. Wow, what a cast. And then boom. It says only on Netflix. And I'm like,
God! No! God, please, no! No!
Or half the time it turns out that they're already out on streaming platforms and I haven't even heard of them. No buzz, no prestige, just an overabundance of content to fill up these services. I almost get the sense that studios are using an algorithm to maintain retention amongst the masses, and no longer bother with artistic and unique forms of storytelling. But this is what's interesting about The Killer. Meticulously crafted and intellectually stimulating. The film is masterful.
For what it's worth, I would never have involved your female friend.
Infused with dark comedy, the film utilizes its seemingly straightforward storyline to reveal a complex, albeit nihilistic, exploration of a flawed character, featuring an outstanding performance by Michael Fassbender. The Killer is great, and it's wasting away on Netflix.
This is what it takes.
If this were a theatrical studio release, there'd be a bigger marketing push, there'd be buzz, more word of mouth. Fincher movies sell, and I feel like this would have been a nice mid-budget success that never happens anymore. And it just would have been extremely beneficial for the movie industry and culture as a whole. Films need buzz to succeed. The type of buzz that made Oppenheimer and Barbie so successful this year. And buzz isn't created when everyone watches the movie when they can get around to it on Netflix. No, a great movie should become something that you plan to watch when it releases, as you want to be part of the zeitgeist that has seen it. Instead, The Killer has become a talking point on film Twitter for a month, maybe a coworker you know has seen it, and now it's just a movie that doesn't exist. Just another movie buried within the depths of streaming mediocrity. However, Apple and Amazon have begun to figure out a strategy where theaters and streaming platforms can have a healthy business model by working together. Streamers were initially predicted to wipe out the movie theaters altogether, but after Glass Onion was estimated to have left a few $100 million on the table due to its lack of a wide theatrical release, some streamers have joined the theater release party. Take the Amazon exclusive Air, about Nike's pursuit of a shoe deal with Michael Jordan. It went over so well with early audiences that Amazon, despite acquiring the film for its Prime Video streaming service, wanted to launch it in theaters, and Air became a big hit. After a strong 5-day debut of over 20 million, especially good for an adult skewing drama, Air dipped only 47% in its second weekend, and reviews were stellar across the board. So when Air did arrive on Prime Video, the studio and its filmmakers received an even better showing than if they hadn't launched it in theaters. Not long ago, some were predicting more and more films would be diverted from theaters and sent straight into homes. Moviegoing was destined to die, they said. Not only has that forecast fallen flat, but the opposite is happening in some cases. Companies like Amazon and Apple are sprinting into multiplexes, taking a distinctly different approach to the staunchly streaming-focused Netflix. Launched on 3,507 screens, Air was the biggest release ever by a streamer, and it's just the start. Amazon Studios is planning to release 12 to 15 movies theatrically every year, and Apple is set to spend $1 billion a year on movies that will land in cinemas before streaming. So when doing the math, carry the 1, that's pocket change for Apple. We truly think that by putting it into theaters, you just can't otherwise get that kind of word of mouth and press around it, says Kevin Wilson, Amazon Studios and MGM theatrical distribution executive. No matter how much you spend, that's a hard thing to replace. However, that halo effect isn't quite free. It takes a robust marketing blitz to raise awareness for a film. But whether a movie is headed to a streaming platform or video on demand, the splash of a theatrical run can cascade through every subsequent window. A film drops straight into a vast digital expanse, might go viral, or quickly fade into one of a million things you can click on. The reason for the direct-to-streaming craze is primarily due to Wall Street. Wall Street craves subscription growth from streaming services, and studios eagerly chase the reward, rising stock prices. But as subscription numbers slowed, the signal from Wall Street shifted to grow your streaming platforms, but make money now too. And that just may be the best thing for us fans of the movie-going experience. A theatrical run can give a film the prestige of something worth making an effort to see, and differentiating it from the infinite sea of content. It can also mean sinking millions in advertising into an often already expensive movie that audiences, with more competition for their attention than ever, might not flock to. Air cost $130 million to make. If it was a dud, it would have been more likely to go straight to streaming. It's got to be the right film. This plan won't work on every single film. Though Netflix gives many of its films a limited week-long run in theaters and owns 2 theaters itself, one in New York and one in Los Angeles, the streamer has typically considered its own platform its biggest marketing driver. Last fall, it gave Rian Johnson's whodunit sequel Glass Onion the widest release ever of a Netflix film. 600 screens. And played for just 5 days. Most big films play on more than 3,500 screens and for a month or more. I hope that they will see what Amazon and Apple are doing and realize that they can both make money in theaters and thus drive more subscribers to Netflix in the end. Currently, Netflix movies just have a way of not mattering, and it's unfortunate for one of 2023's best films. Speaking of 2023's best films, I'll have my top movies of 2023 dropping very soon on the channel, so subscribe and be on the lookout for that. But first, what are your thoughts on all of this? What are your thoughts on The Killer? Did you like the movie? What are your thoughts on direct-to-streaming culture? Whatever's on your mind, let me know down below. Peace.